Braveheart's also very quotable. There's a lot of really good quotes. The one part where is it Longshanks who says,
"Yeah,
the problem with Scotland is it's full of Scots," and then you mentioned Prima Nocta, where I have one buddy.
Oh man,
he thinks it's the funniest thing ever. He's done this at every wedding of all of our friends. Once he's drinking, that he'll just stand up and I declare Prima Nocta.
Oh,
I like that.
On the first night, I will take the lady into my bed. The way that
was so
that British. It wasn't the king that did that.
No.
He was the local magistrate.
Yes, exactly.
And then the husband.
What was Prima Nocta?
So Prima Nocta was, and I don't know if this actually happened, but in the movie, it was their way to breed the Scots out of Scotland by basically before the wedding night, the woman would have to sleep with the local English magistrate, hoping to impregnate these women with the
and
English
the Scots
blood.
Didn't see the plan.
Well, no.
No, they turned. Yeah, they
in
wrote
the
it
movie.
in. Yeah.
That's part of the reason they rebelled. Now, did that really happen that way? I don't know. I just know that the one scene where the husband slits the throat of the magistrate says, "It was my noble right."
It was my noble right.
And then the husband goes, "And I'm claiming my right as a husband."
Yes.
And just goes and does he slit the throat? Whatever he does.
No. Mel does that to a guy. He beats him with a big
shillelagh.
Yeah.
With a shillelagh.
Yep.
You're right. I'm sorry, because Mel Gibson slits the throat of the dude that tries to mess with his wife, I believe.
His wife was beautiful.
Murin.
Yep. God, that's a hard way of life back in the 1200s.
That's a great movie.
It's a great movie.
Great soundtrack.
Because it was like society, but it wasn't really like society.
Hardcore.
You know,
Even just living in Scotland with the weather change, it's always cold and damp and muddy. It's just the most uncomfortable
and they all
terrain.
went to the bathroom outdoors, right?
Oh God, yeah. I just feel like they need like baby powder everywhere they go. So I don't know. Ugh. What a hard way of life. I do watch. There's a guy on YouTube, of course. I would go down YouTube rabbit holes, and they break down these historic movies, and they tell you what's real and what's not, and they go through it. It's actually quite interesting. They did that with Braveheart, but my memory's not very good, and I forgot what's what.
Well, I remember, and look, when you make a movie from, I mean, that time was how many years ago? Was it?
It was in 1200. It's like 1286.
Okay, so we're talking 800-900 years ago. I remember one plot line that's totally incorrect is at the end of the movie when it's basically insinuated that Mel Gibson sleeps with the French princess.
Yeah.
So that the next king of England will actually be Mel Gibson's son, right?
Yeah, that didn't happen.
That the times didn't, the times of that kid being born didn't line up. In terms of William Wallace died this year, that baby was born like 3-4 years later.
He was born on Prima Nocta.
Yeah.
Prima Nocta.
And how do you even know was that going to work anyway? Well, this is William Wallace's child. Oh yeah? How? Prove it.
Apparently, though, and again, this is 900 years ago, but William Wallace was a giant. That's one of the reasons he was such a great warrior. That from that time, he was just the biggest person.
So he's like 5'11"?
Well, whatever everybody else was, if everybody else was 5'6",
4, yeah.
He was probably 6'4", but there were tales of him swinging his sword in battle and just like clobbering 3-4 dudes.
Now that could be.
I'm sure there's a lot of
we gotta vet and
legend
verify
lore.
on that. But
Well,
I will
look it
say,
up.
George, I will. Well, is that I got
I mean,
a
I'm
show to
telling you,
run.
if you-
Seth's
if
over
you
there
look
looking
up-
at notes for some reason. Seth should be on that.
Nate is right now doing the outline for his show, so he's busy. and I don't even know what Seth is doing.
I don't know what he's doing, but he's not looking that up.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are the support staff, so if there's a question, you guys should be on it right away.
How about
Did you
this?
know that? He looks at me like I'm crazy.
I Googled William Wallace size. First thing that comes up. Walter Bauer states that Wallace was, quote, a tall man with the body of a giant, with lengthy flanks, broad in the hips.
What does that mean?
He's
lengthy
strong
He's
arms.
5'11".
And legs,
And he had
with
big
all
hands.
his limbs, very strong and firm.
You know who was big? It was George Washington. He was like 6'2.5". That's gigantic.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
So
Gigantic back in the day.
if I knew someone who had like a YouTube channel,
Yeah.
do you know anyone?
No.
Well, Cam has one.
Yeah, I got one.
You know what I would do? I would get you, especially if it's your own channel.
Yeah.
And I would get you a Braveheart outfit.
Ooh.
And then I would just subtly film you going to a Best Buy as a character from Braveheart,
I could do that.
trying to buy a Surface Pro and asking like standard questions of like an old guy
From the
who doesn't
1200s.
understand. But,
Yeah.
but only you're dressed as a guy from Braveheart.
Yeah.
That would get 100,000
That
views.
would get 100,000 views. I would just be, humiliated, but it's okay.
So here's where what's legend, what's lore, what's factual. This article states William Wallace was a pretty big man. His height was 6'7", and he was a giant of a man. It's kind of an interesting sentence. They go from a pretty big man to a giant of a man
6'7", no
in the
way.
same sentence. Although it is said that it was impossible for a man of that stature to exist when the average height was just over 5 feet. Back in the
5
late
feet?
Well, that's the late 1200s here.
Dude, he
according to
wasn't
this article.
6'7". That is just fabricated stories throughout the history of time.
I thought Abe Lincoln was a giant, not George Washington.
Abe was, George and Abe, they both were. Look that up. Seth, what are we doing? No, I'm sorry. Go ahead, buddy. You're good.
But look it up, seriously.
Seriously, though. But I do think even 6'2" is gigantic back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
So George Washington was 6'2", and then Abe Lincoln was 6'4".
Oh, baby.
I didn't think George was over
Big
6
George,
feet,
dude.
though. I didn't realize how tall he was.
Big Georgie. He'd bag your ass up.
Babe Ruth was a giant of a man back then, but now he would be like, what, 6 foot?
God,
he whatever he was then, he's today, but back then it was a 6-footer was a giant.
monster.
Yeah.
Even 6 foot in hockey in the 70s, you're big. God almighty. So I guess being tall back in the day would be like having a Camaro and a nice gold chain in Jefferson County today. What? William Wallace, 6'7". Gino, look, you looked up the same website as him. I don't think anybody knows how big William Wallace is. You could probably know. You certainly know how big Abe is and Jared.
What about Ben
They
Wallace?
didn't have his
Underrated power forward. I think he was
6'11".
only 6'8", 6'9".
Oh, I think he was listed at 6'9".
his
He
hair
may,
was 6'11".
may even have been
All
about
effort.
6'7".
Yeah, all effort.
That dude. So I got to cover a couple playoff runs of that Pistons team. My favorite team
Because
of
you're
all
in
time-
Michigan. Yeah.
My favorite team of all time is the 2004 Pistons, but this was after the fact. This was 06, 07. Ben Wallace, seeing him in person,
He also had a fro that was
he had the fro, but he's one of the most imposing physical specimens you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah,
He was a freaking monster. Like his arms and shoulders, he looked like a bodybuilder.
Yeah. Could you? Yeah. William Wallace is as big as Ben Wallace? Yeah, I don't think so. Back in the day.
Okay, but if you're the greatest
You know
warrior,
Mike Wallace, the famous
They're all
news-
related.
He
Yes.
was 6'8".
Was he really?
Yeah.
Interesting. But you can see why
CNN now?
the best warriors
These
back
guys
in
don't
the
even
day,
know who Mike Wallace is.
Yes, I do. Whoa. Oh,
Are you
yeah.
serious? Mike Wallace?
He just went to CNN, didn't he?
That's Chris Wallace. That's his son.
I know. Same family. It gets confusing at times. Mike, Chris. How about you have a unique name once in a while for somebody?
How do you think we wouldn't know Mike Wallace? I'm almost 40.
I look at the kids who aren't even kids anymore,
don't-
faces, and they're like blank, like they have no idea who Mike Wallace is.
I know who Mike Wallace is.
All right?
How about this? Gino Ojic says his armor, William Wallace's armor, is at a museum in Scotland.
Oh,
It fits a 6'7" man. And
send
by
that
the way,
mug. Send a pic of that, Gino. You ain't doing nothing.
if you're the greatest warrior back in the day, when you're swinging swords, it would stand to reason that you're the biggest person. Think about that. The greatest warrior, some of the greatest warriors are going to be the biggest dudes.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, Alexander the Great was small. He was just a smart
But
guy.
he was great.
He was strategic. I would again love to go back in time and have a bird's eye view of some of these battles and see William Wallace do his thing and be like, there he is. Look at the big guy.
But don't you think anyone who actually survives all these battles is going to go down as the greatest warrior? And if they're like me, it could just be a guy who stayed in the back.
Stay in the back and act like he was dead. You ever think of that?
Like Jimmy the Great.
Jimmy the Great.
Jimmy, Jimmy the Great has survived 17 insurrections. And then
Think
you go,
about
wait a minute. Jimmy's the guy that he never charged one castle.
He laid on the ground
Yeah.
and covered himself with
He
bodies.
never charged one castle.
The most important person back in the day was the storyteller, was the person who wrote the scrolls,
Damn
or
right.
they wrote it on the wall.
Yep.
Alexander the Great could have been a rich guy's son. And
was.
he
was.
He wrote the story afterwards. Oh yeah, he did everything.
He banged his mom too. I
It
think.
could have been the leader who was Henry the Great. He dies in battle courageously, and Alexander writes the history. And all of a sudden he's great.
There's so many different scrolls and stuff. Although Alexandria, the Library of Alexandria, burned to the ground, which had like every piece of knowledge going. I think Caesar did that in a.
Dan Caesar?
Yeah, Dan Caesar wrote a horrible article back in the day and burned everything to the ground. But there was so much knowledge in the Library of Alexandria, and it burnt down. And it's just like, oh Lord. But they have a lot of they have a lot of scrolls that talk about Alexander the Great. He conquered a lot of stuff, man.
We got to get some of these scrolls. And
I
read
know.
them on the air.
I want to find some in a cave in Israel, Jimmy. That's what I want to do. I want to go to Israel.
If someone has like a historically important scroll hanging around the house, drop it by the station.
Yeah, I'm going to read that damn thing.
All I'm saying, though, is if you were around in the BC, we're talking, 323, 336-ish BC. I just don't know if all that information was vetted. And it's
verified.
It's like that telephone game where if you start with the kids and you say something to one kid's ear,
dude.
When it comes back around the circle, it's a totally different story. I mean, you're basically depending on folks telling a story for about, when did the printing press come out?
In 1400s.
It's a lot of word of mouth.
But in fairness, doesn't that kind of exist today? Like when there's not a lot of baseball news, one reporter will say, rumor is the Cards are after this guy. Next thing you know, it's popping up in the 6 o'clock news on Charlie Marlowe. Like, it is kind of the same.
I'm not on TV anymore.
No, he's not.
But you've done that.
Have I done that?
Reports are the Cardinals are hot in pursuit of this guy, and it really came from some guy who tweeted something and someone else.
What about someone that said that
it's
we're
like
going to get
a game of telephone?
We're going to get an NFL team back here.
We're not getting it.
No, okay. I was just wondering.
Was there like a little Twitter beef going on with that?
There was something going on with.
I think Daniel Wallach and Ben Fred were going back and forth a little bit.
I thought they're all buddies.
Well, I don't think they hate each other. I think
they were going at it.
Ben Fred is saying that.
I like that Ben Fred.
I like him too, man. I like him. Hockman.
It seemed like you didn't like Ben Fred.
I love Ben Fred.
I don't know the other cat though. The dude, the Metcalf cat. I don't know him.
DK Metcalf.
No, I like him. He's my buddy.
Good receiver. Hands a little questionable.
Yeah, and his he's not ripped enough. No, the kid, the guy that
he's
wrote.
He's been a great warrior.
Terry
I bet
Metcalf.
there's a couple of scrolls about him.
Well, I'm just saying, this guy wrote a bunch of scrolls about this, lawsuit and this, that, and the other. And I thought they were all in cahoots. And then now I see on a little Twitter beef with Ben Fred and them, and I was kind of confused by it.
But what was the beef
You're
about?
Talking about Daniel Wallach, right?
Daniel Wallach, yeah.
Okay.
Now William Wallach.
Well, you said Metcalf.
I messed up.
Okay. I was just trying to figure out who you're talking about.
Metcalf. What am I thinking?
DK Metcalf is like the guy with all the unmeasurables who's very good, productive receiver. The knock on him, he doesn't have great hands. Right?
Shannon Sharp chirped.
And there's a couple of scrolls that if he were a warrior back in the day, he would probably be in a lot more scrolls.
He also has green hair, I believe.
He does.
So what is the beef that St. Louis wasn't going to get a team?
We could look that up.
I'm pretty sure to paraphrase
between the two guys.
Yeah, they had like a Twitter beef going, and I thought it was like they were being funny.
Honest, I've never heard of either of these guys.
You never heard of Ben Fred?
I don't think so.
What's Ben Fredrickson?
So to paraphrase, Ben Fred all along,
great guy,
has said, look, that the expansion team was not in the cards, and even I think personally he would say that he was not for an expansion team, but also he did a ton of reporting on this and said all along that the talk of the expansion team was basically nonsense, and he was. I don't want to speak for him, but I think he was happy with the settlement.
You're just giving us a sense of what the crux is.
And Daniel Wallach, he did do. I mean, he was in Siberia, literally chilling.
I was listening to it,
but he was also really pouring into a lot of the records and the previous trials and cases, and uncovering a bunch of documents going back to Paul Tagliabue's era, basically saying that no, these guidelines were written to protect the home markets, to protect the cities from teams leaving. And so his point all along with his podcast partner Daniel Lust, was, look, this could be, if it got to a trial and St. Louis won a trial, that it could be a multi-billion-dollar settlement if punitive damages came into play. And if that happened, that could be the linchpin for potentially getting an expansion team.
Yeah. I heard $15 billion. I heard anywhere between like $2 billion and $15 billion.
I don't think anybody ever thought $15 billion.
I didn't think it. I heard it. I heard it like multiple times.
I never thought we were going to be getting an expansion, because everyone knows, like, the Chargers are the team that should be here, because you can't walk down a street without, seeing someone with a Chargers jersey.
Well,
I mean, that's the team that there's a local tie. They used to barnstorm in the St. Louis area. By the way, whenever I put like Bring the Pelicans home on Twitter. And Derek Dockett gave me a beautiful St. Louis Pelicans that I tweet out once in a while. People are like, is this real? Oh, yeah, they used to barnstorm. If you say things like, they used to barnstorm in the St. Louis area, there's no way to track that.
Barnstorm.
People tend to believe it.
That's like a
What
50s.
is barn?
Yeah.
Jimmy, what is
Kind
barnstorm?
of like, that's going back to like ABA basketball. I feel like the Negro Leagues barnstorm from town to town.
Right, and there's no way to track that.
Playing your local all-star team.
So you'd say, oh, no, the roots are in St. Louis because they used to barnstorm here. And then people would go, oh, okay, I didn't know that, but they didn't.
Can I say, though? So I was intrigued by their back and forth on Twitter. And it's like everything else. I see both sides of it. And so, look, the settlement's fine. I'm not crazy about it. I do think when that settlement happened, I think the NFL probably cheered. So I think that goes to show, if you're Stan Kroenke in the NFL, don't you think you celebrated that settlement?
Like,
honestly.
Like, okay.
Of looking at what could have been.
Yeah.
Of a trial probably going on right now, by the way, while the Rams are in the playoffs and the Super Bowl's coming up in a few weeks in L.A. I do think the NFL was happy with that settlement, and I think that shows you. Look, I don't agree with both those guys, like their argument 100%, but I do think St. Louis's leverage would have been much greater with the trial. Even if you get a settlement, you have to wait through the appellate court. I understand all those things. I understand, but the trial was in St. Louis. The trial was in St. Louis. I think St. Louis gave up too early, in my opinion. I mean, after all that, the national media was just getting on board.
Charlie, I know.
And right before Thanksgiving, you just close up shop?
Well, here's the thing. First off, I wanted depositions. I wanted to read depositions. I wanted to see all the dirt laid out there. We never got a chance.
I think they're going after that through Freedom of Information Acts to try to get that.
I sure hope so. But I think that's where the leverage is. And I can tell you this firsthand about litigation. It doesn't matter if you win or lose because the lawyers always win.
Yeah.
The lawyers always get theirs. Now, if you're Kroenke or the NFL and your secrets are kept, except that you have to cut checks here and getting your lawyer, paid is a very expensive thing. You're probably not happy about writing the check, considering what could have been. You're fine with it.
And that's the thing. I'm very grateful for the lawyers of going through multiple years to bring this to the point where St. Louis did get almost an $800 million settlement. But as Kat said, I think also if you look at getting the most possible money, and if that is winning a trial in St. Louis and taking it as far as possible, that does go against what a lot of the lawyers want to do, and I totally understand it, which is getting a guaranteed payout.
Yeah.
If you have a guaranteed payout of, what was it, 35% of that number versus, hey, we probably win in a local trial, they'll appeal, who knows, and it could take years, I totally understand why the lawyers want the guaranteed payout. However, I think anybody who's reasonable can also say that goes against maximizing your deal, and that would be going through a trial and hopefully winning a trial with punitive damages.
Scooter chimes in and goes, appeals wouldn't be appealed out of St. Louis, so home field advantage is a wash.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay. 304 chimes in and goes, STL dropped the ball solely because the attorneys wanted to get paid now. That's it, and it sucks. He also said that as well. Kat, I already had my throwback rules. Womble Scherzy made up for St. Louis Chargers debut. That's from the 3-1-4.
That's the team that has grassroots support, just naturally from all the barnstorming.
Can they fix a couple potholes on Manchester with that 800 bill, Schmel bill, whatever? Can they fix a couple potholes?
How about the one right in front of Deerbergs? Which, by the way, one in front of Deerbergs, I have watched cars bottom out for multiple years.
Which
and I hate to say
is
it.
Oh,
the Deerbergs
Charlie.
right there in Rock Hill.
Charlie.
It's right by Berry Road. And if you know that area, it's actually kind of funny to drive it.
It's not
because,
funny.
well, here's where it's funny. Everybody who lives in that neighborhood knows about that pothole.
And they go over,
and so they chill in the left lane right until afterwards they merge into the right lane. And you can kind of watch the other folks, unfortunately, that don't know about it. I mean, it's damaging cars. Cars are bottoming out.
That's where the poors live, right? In this area. So they're not going to fix that pothole.
Rock Hill, Glendale area?
Comparatively, I think that's where some of the
Isn't
poors.
that the worst?
Is that where you live?
No, he lives in the wealthy part of home.
I live in
That's
Glendale.
where I live.
That's where Seth lives. I'm going to tell you
live
this.
there, or Rick, do the Poors
It's a
live
very
there?
good neighborhood.
Well, you just put a label on it, so
You
it
did
doesn't
put a
matter
label
what I
on, Jimmy.
say.
You put a label on it, Jimmy.
Then it's yes.
Why do
Yes.
you look down upon the Poors?
Well, yeah,
Why do
be
you call
nice.
them the Poors?
I reach out a helping hand. To
Here you
the
go.
Poors.
You want a
But you call
Gatorade,
them
Seth? You poor folk.
Yesterday,
Take that Gatorade.
yesterday I was there at that pothole site filling it myself. I went to the Ace.
It
and
didn't work, Jimmy.
I got 90 pounds of topsoil, and I didn't get the really rich kind.
God.
But I got it was like $1.98 for 20, 30 pounds, and I've tried to fill that pothole to help
didn't
the
work.
Poors.
But how does it happen, though? How does that happen? I think I've talked about this on the radio, by the way, 5 times, this particular pothole. Now, I haven't gone and written a letter or called up the local municipality, but how does that pothole go for multiple years?
Why don't you run for office
Charlie,
and fix that?
I don't want
It
to.
automatically puts
Like
me
I
in a
did.
bad mood. Whenever I hit a damn pothole, I'm like this. I'm like, la, 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 la. This is going to be a good day. I'm happy. Blah, blah. Whoa, bam. Then I'm like, like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Let me check my tire gauge. Is it going down? Is it going down? It's 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm
What do you got, a
freezing.
Prius? You got a big
No,
pickup
I got a big.
truck.
I goes, whoa, bam. I go, whoa, whoa. I'm in happy mode. I'm listening to music. I'm doing my thing. I'm trying to get pumped up for the show. And this stupid pothole, I hit it. My whole car goes crazy. I almost get in a car accident. Whoo! Pissed me right off. Then my tire gauge, I'm like, is it going down? Is it not? Do I got to change a tire? Am I good at changing tires? Not really. 5 o'clock in the morning, I'm probably not going to do it. I'll probably have to call in. I would call in, though, by the way, if I'm stuck on the side of the road. I'd call in, still do the show.
Here's
Crazy.
another thing about changing tires.
Just send
though.
a scroll in, and we'll
That's
read
what
the
I
scroll.
found.
Look.
Keep my scrolls.
Your tire changing kits now these days, the jacks are way too small. They
I
are
agree with you.
way too small. Those little jacks, those little ones that you have to put on your vehicles these days, there is no room for error with those. You need a nice big jack.
Excuse me? Somebody chimes in and goes, nothing better than having a brilliant text absolutely slaughtered by Cam. I messed that text up, too. Which one are you talking about, 314? Let me look right quick.
We need, by the way, by the
wait.
way, we need to get like a prize for the text. We need to get that going again. Like I see where there should be more, because this show is wildly entertaining. We've already talked about potholes and scrolls, which, by the way, I think is the name of Nate's show, right? You're on at noon.
Yeah, what are you
Potholes
saying?
and scrolls.
Yeah,
Scrolls and potholes.
That's
Okay.
right.
Yeah.
Hey, somebody chimed in. Oh, Tim Van Gelder chimes in and goes, Wallach pushed back on the Sunshine and Lollipops We Slew the Dragon quotations column by Benfred. Benfred wrote, and Benfred didn't like it. Wait. Oh, God. Sorry, Tim. Let me try again. I'm good at this. Wallach pushed back on the Sunshine and Lollipops We Slew the Dragon column Benfred wrote, and Benfred didn't like it. St. Louis settled way too early. I think he put Benfred twice in there, which he should have put Wallach didn't like it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right?
We'll check
I
the
didn't
scroll.
read this particular Benfred column,
God,
but
I suck.
I
at
read a
names.
lot of them. I had him on back at Fox 2 months ago, and he did a great job covering the story locally. I also think Daniel Wallach did a great job uncovering all those documents. So I'm not going to take a side either way.
Yeah.
Because
Where's Wallach based out of?
well,
Siberia.
He was in Siberia. I think he's now in Florida.
I think his girl's in Siberia.
Then side with Ben. Ben's our guy. I love Ben.
That's
Look,
How dare you side with an outsider?
He likes the
Ben
Russians.
Fred. I love Benfred. He's not a Russian. He's American.
yeah. Well, you're living over there. I don't know.
I believe his wife is from there.
Imagine that, by the way.
So he's a Russian asset.
But hey, imagine that. Imagine your wife is like, "Hi, honey. Look, I got a job. Oh, it's sunny Florida. No, no, no. We're going to Siberia. I love you so much. I'm going to move there with you.
It's probably good
I don't
for
know.
research. I'm telling you, that dude.
Where does the money end up? Honestly,
Who knows?
Not in that pothole.
It's between what? City, county, and the Dome Authority, correct?
Pothole. City got what they wanted. Pothole money. Well, fill the damn thing.
so what is it? $790 million.
That's
minus-
before the 35%.
Yeah.
So I believe the math on that would be what? You get probably 500-ish. Am I right?
Jimmy D chimes in and goes, "We don't need prizes, Cat. You guys are all the prize we need." Oh God, Jimmy.
Oh, it's nice.
Oh, thank you.
But we should give a prize, like text of the day, text of the week, or something. Come up with something, Charlie. You have a lot of tentacles out there.
So, which sponsor? We could have Bertarelli Cutlery. We have to ask them first, but could we have a nice sponsor gift, maybe?
That's what I'm saying.
That we could figure out here.
And what we do is we bait and switch it. Like, we start with good prizes, get the text line going, and then the prize kind of dissipates, and we still have people texting in under the false premise that there's still a prize available.
How about this? Once Dave Zobrist, each month when he stocks the fridge with all the great drinks, we're talking coffee drinks, energy drinks, this
good to it.
flavored water, Gatorades. We'll let a lucky listener come in and kind of hang around the water cooler and drink a Gatorade.
There's some food in there from last week as well.
I'd rather them stay outside.
Okay.
Like we hand them something.
So how about this? They stand outside the window. We stand inside the studio.
Yeah.
And we kind of pretend.
I don't want them looking at us, though.
We'll take a picture, though.
Okay.
Like, what if we got them, like, a really nice carving knife?
And then give them a Pepsi from the fridge instead.
And then Seth can go hand it to him. You know what? I don't want to be, like, it's a whole thing if you got to shake hands and stuff.
By the way, text line, Bertarelli Cutlery text line, 855-282-8255. Will No Text Marlowe actually start reading text? It's not really my job.
I'm not good at it.
Should I read them?
I'm not good at it.
Well, I think you're letting it get in your head.
It is in my head now. I'm rattled.
So if somebody says Cam slaughtered my text, then I feel like you get a little anxious.
Well, they piss me up here. Well, because
there's also a lot of typos.
Thank you.
100%.
So I read it verbatim. That's what you want me to do. You want me to guess what you're saying when you're talking through your phone, driving? I'd rather you pull over, take some time, go through it, vet and verify, and then I will read it properly. But if not, it's scrambly, and I just read what's in front of me. That's what you're supposed to do. Go ahead, Jimmy. You can talk.
I think Charlie brought up a great point, though.
Thank you.
Because
you can just end it there.
Cam, you're a people pleaser.
Yes.
I think you want to please people, right?
I do.
So I think you start to sort of overanalyze your own performance and certain things. Like the difference is I'm old, I'm arrogant. You know what I mean? Like
keep going.
I have no self-awareness.
No.
You know what I mean? So I just assume I'm great, even though I know I'm not. I'm not that blind. Cam is like, I need to do a better job with this. You don't. Trust your stuff because people really like you.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter if you kick a word here or there. You're Cam Jansen. People love you.
Yeah.
Right? I think Charlie's point is just trust your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but my stuff, it's like Carlos Martinez when he wanted to trust his stuff and he's throwing over damn. Well, what about Rick Ankiel back in the day when we're
let me tell you something. You'd be my horse if you never ran a race. And what I mean by that is I believe in Cam. So I'm not going to be prisoner of the moment. Oh, Cam kicked a word. He could have done a better job reading that. I look at the big picture. That's my horse. We're going to cross the finish line first. I'm with Cam. I think that's how we all have to pump each other up. Let's face it. We're not the best at what we do.
No.
None of us.
No.
I mean, especially Nate and Seth.
Sure.
But we're a team, and we support each other.
But here's the other part. Cam is only focusing on the negative. He brought up 2 pitchers. Rick Ankiel was a phenom. Then he goes through all his adversity, comes back and hits 25 bombs. Hits 25 bombs in 2008, has the unbelievable throws. They have a book out. I guarantee there'll probably be a movie someday about Rick Ankiel.
Cool guy, by the way.
It was in the works, and someone made it like a knockoff Rick Ankiel movie, like a B-list movie. Yeah, I think they're going to eventually make that into a movie.
I got a hot take.
And then Carlos.
Yeah.
Carlos was what, a 2-time All-Star? He got a big contract. I know things haven't gone well the last couple of years. Maybe he figures it out with another team. Who knows? But also, you're focusing on the last couple of years. Carlos Martinez, his career numbers are actually pretty dang good.
Absolutely.
So was that a bad analogy?
I'm saying you're focusing. Dude, you played in the NHL. Would you want someone, if you had Carlos Martinez's NHL career in terms of, let's say, 5 pretty dang good years and 2 bad ones at the end, would you want people to only focus on the bad ones for you?
Plus, you were a closer and a starter.
And you got paid, by the way.
You did get paid.
And he's only like 30.
Schmo.
He's about 30-ish.
He's actually pretty nice. Doesn't speak that much. But I see him at golf tournaments. He's always nice.
He's a nice guy.
He's a nice guy.
I almost feel bad for him because, to me, he's still like a kid.
Yeah.
Even though he's like a 30-year-old guy. I know folks try to put him under their wing and everything. He is a nice kid.
Always
I do
nice.
think that there was lack of discipline here and there. But he's not a bad guy. I always rooted for him. And you know what else? He would do interviews one-on-one in English, which I respect. People don't understand how difficult that, when that's not your language and you're willing to put yourself out. First of all, you got to trust the interviewer, because one misstep and people could read into it.
100%.
And he always tried in English because he wanted to reach, your typical Cardinal fan who might not be bilingual. I give him a lot of credit, actually.
Here's another thing he did. Now, I tell you, like, you see this kind of stuff. I've judged people around certain people and this, that, and the other. He was always at the Pujols events, for Pujols' charity events, and he was so good to the kids and to that whole group. He was just so good, and I see that stuff. And I this is my favorite charity ever, by the way. Jen Teamer, what's up, girl? What's up, girl?
Carlos took it over 1 year.
He was awesome.
It was his thing.
Golf tournaments, he talked to everybody. He always had a smile on his face.
Showed up a little late that year.
Showed up a little late, he was sweet to everybody.
He was
and
the
I
closer,
loved it.
though. So he's not supposed to be there until the 9th.
There you go.
So that's like the 16th.
I got a hot take real quick before we go to break.
Oh, we're going to
ask Joe Buck, by the way, who's coming on at 9. Yeah. Pretty good get. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I texted them, of course. No. Of course, Jimmy did. We got Big Joe coming up.
Is he going to answer, though?
Is he going to? Who?
That was a shot.
Because
we got faded. We got faded by Bader.
Faded by Bader. That should be the segment name.
That was good.
Faded by Bader. By the way, real quick.
Go ahead.
Carlos Martinez, career number.
God, why don't I'm never bringing up.
2-time All-Star, 62 and 52.
This is like a Marlowe scroll.
Listen, 62 and 52 record, career ERA, 3.74. And people talk about him like he's a bum. And I get it. The last couple of years, not good.
He was loud. He had crazy stuff, When he was bad, he was bad. He had a couple instances over in the Western Illinois. That doesn't help.
Him and Marcell Ozuna had a disagreement.
Just don't even go over there.
It was a little conflict.
Just don't even go over there. Just don't even go over there.
I call it a dust-up.
You know how good that street meat stand is right there outside the club? And I'm sure somebody took somebody else's beef sandwich, and then next thing you know, Marcell Ozuna's throwing haymakers.
When you walk out of Western Illinois, long days work,
at
long nights
4
work,
a.m.
at 5 a.m., and that sun's coming up.
We got a game tonight.
And you're like, oh, God, I hate myself. Then you got that trip home. Oh, God. Not doing it. If you're a pro athlete in this town, don't go to Western Illinois. You don't need to. Who are you wheeling out of there anyway? Look, when you're trying to wheel strippers, you got to wait till 5 o'clock in the morning just to even get them out of there. What's the point of that? Go to Wheelhouse and just stand there. You'll have girls all over you. Write that down.
Wait, so you've been there wheeling a stripper at 5?
No. Well, I used to take Kate there all the time with our buddies late at night. We used to go and right in the back and just chill and party. No one bugs you. It was cool. But we went to Rippers back in the day, and it's just like a pain in the ass. I told you I'm against it. I never go there. Never. Unless I'm with other girls. Because if you go there with a bunch of dudes, you look like an idiot anyway, in my opinion.
The last time.
Look desperate.
The last time I went over there for that was actually after Game 7 of the 2011 World Series. You know why? Because everybody was so happy, having so much fun downtown St. Louis, that everybody wanted to keep the party going. And so they just went across to the east side because the bars and the clubs were still open.
Yeah,
everybody went over there.
It's nasty over there. For F's sakes, Martinez blows. Can we talk about Thomas got screwed on the All-Star game? Who cares about the stupid All-Star game, by the way?
What about Gino had a text
what did he say?
Chirping you pretty good.
Oh, Cam, you have 10 years experience. Rank your top 5 press box to watch it. Shut up, Gino. I will screw that one up for you.
Well, at least finish reading it.
Cam, you have 10 years experience. Rank your top 5 press boxes to watch a game and eat. Go screw yourself.
Come on, that's
number one.
Oh, I kind of like that.
That's pretty good.
Well, the worst one's at home. The worst press box to be in is at home because you're like, "Hi, everyone. Hi. What happened? Well, I'm not very good. I'm not very good." Well, you're on the road. You're like, "Whatever. I'll creep down in the locker room. I'll do this." But at home, you're like, you see people and you're like, "Hi, I'm up here."
I mean, when you're a healthy scratch.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is kind of.
You're like, "Hi."
And it's almost like you're on parade for the media.
Yeah. Like, hey, Cam.
Hi, I'm a healthy scratch. How you doing?
Hi, how you doing? No, I'm up here again. Yep. Remember that turnover I had? Yeah, that was me. I didn't like that. Can you ask? No, I'm not going to read that because Joe Buck's our friend. Tim Van Gelder. The money actually went to fixing potholes. Most people would be satisfied. New Escalades for government toadies is what we expect. I mean, yeah.
I mean, if I had a way, if I were in government, I had a way to kind of allocate that money toward me getting a new car, I'd look into it. Wouldn't you?
If you can get away with it, why wouldn't you?
Weren't you in government?
I was an alderman.
Did you do that?
No. You know what I did? I ran for office to help everyone in the community.
We know the story.
Rise up together.
But mostly because of your specific yard.
Charlie ain't buying it.
But really mostly because of your specific yard.
Charlie.
You were a one-issue candidate. Your yard.
Charlie.
Your hammock in the backyard.
Charlie. I'm not, as you know, I'm not one to toot my own horn.
Sure.
But even when I didn't run.
And you would have won, by the way. I'm giving you that.
I got enough write-in votes where I could have won.
Here's the deal, though.
And I wasn't even running.
How come?
So how, if I was a one-trick pony as a candidate...
But you cared most about the playground in your backyard and the fact there was a little bit of shade on it.
I cared about I especially cared about the senior citizens whose voices were not heard by big government.
Here's the thing, though. When people bash government, Cat will join in on the fun. He is government.
He is.
He's the problem we're trying to eradicate. And somehow you've got a pass for being the problem. You are big government.
Neighbors moved because of it.
You're big government.
Let me just tell you what I am.
And we're the little people that you're stomping on.
What I am is a man of the people. Because when you're an alderman, sure, it sounds like a lofty position, but really all you are is a neighbor trying to help other neighbors. So when you get an email from the older woman who lives at the corner that people think might be a little bit out there.
The cat lady.
You go and you look at the problem that she has in her yard. Or if it's another woman who lives in the cul-de-sac who has this problem with squirrels running rampant on her property, and you're like, I don't have any control. You listen because you're a man of the people. That's your job. And if you do that and you help people address their problems, one by one, you can lift the whole community up together.
Yeah.
Okay. So that being said,
I am woman, hear me roar.
So besides
numbers too big to ignore.
Here we go. Besides winning your specific case, which is great, I'm very glad you won that. What would you say? What do you hang your hat on? Like the Jim Hayes signature piece of legislation. What are you really proud of what you accomplished? Like, what's the one thing I left this municipality a better place?
Would you like me to be honest about it?
100%.
I will. Yep. And I can say this now because I'm no longer affiliated with the government. But the so-called city planner advisor, who was an unelected person, who was a nightmare for builders, for residents, who made up the rules as she went along, quit and left. And now the city planning duties and went through the whole contract bid and was voted on. Now there's an actual company that does it instead of one woman who lives literally 40 miles away who would come in once a month and who had too much power and was buddies with someone, and all of a sudden something that shouldn't have been built was. That's what I hang my hat on. We have a much more equitable, a much more consistent policy toward construction.
Ring that bell, Jimmy. Ring the bell, Jimmy.
That new company, is it JHE that took over?
Let's not say that's the name of it, but there might be some tentacles involved.
Gotcha. So kind of one of those, what do you call them? Not shadow companies.
I am woman, hear me roar, and numbers too
Shell.
big to explore.
Shell company.
Jimmy Big Brother the
Shell
Cat
company.
has a nice ring to it.
I'll read this text here in terms of, let's see here. Where's the one about Pelosi and Cat?
Pelosi, McDonald, and the Cat all in cahoots with the big machine. I could read that one.
Thank you. Yeah, ring the bell.
That Nancy Pelosi.
You're just as bad as Pelosi and
Ooh,
McDonald.
eyebrows?
I got to admit, though, Pelosi has made a lot of money in the stock market. I'm not saying she did anything, but people don't even realize, and this is not a partisan issue, like within the last 15 years, insider trading was legal for elected representatives.
She admitted it one time in a press conference.
Do people understand that? Like, we are not removed at all from insider trading being legal. How
not only that.
And that's not Democrat or Republican.
Right.
That's nonsense.
But not only that.
Not in my watch. Not when I was an alderman.
No.
Your campaign, in theory, let's say you are a member of the House. Your campaign could be totally funded by one particular company. And then you could win election and go in and write legislation that benefits said company that basically got you elected. How does that make any sense? How does that make any sense? How is that for the people?
It's a legitimate question.
It's a very legitimate question.
It seems like you were attacking my candidacy as alderman because the company that made the signs suddenly was the official sign maker of the municipality. What are you talking about?
I know.
It was just an accident.
Listen, I know you think everything is about you. That was actually more of a national perspective.
Understood. And I actually was just joking because that wasn't accurate.
I also was joking, just so you know.
I'm going to give
Nate, are you joking? I haven't heard.
You can put his mic up if you want to there, Seth. Will you say it again, Nate? No, it's...
I'm always joking with you guys.
There you go.
I'm just trying to stay out of the political arguments because, you know, it causes...
Because you're going to get all of us
worse.
whacked. Yeah. That's why. You're going to get all of us fired.
That's right.
Yeah. Right.
I'm good at that.
We got Joe Buck coming up at 9 o'clock. We're going to go to break here. My hot take would be, in all honesty, I love Kurt Warner, but I'd rather watch a movie on Cardinal player, had the yips, love him.
Ricky
Ankiel. Gosh dang it, great. I'd rather see a movie documentary on him than Kurt Warner.
Why?
Because there's more controversial stuff with Rick Ankiel and what he went through, and then all of a sudden he came out of it and he was drinking vodka during the games and stuff like this crazy kind of stuff. It's just more interesting. We know what Kurt Warner did. It came out of nowhere. I get that, and he's just a happy-go-lucky guy, awesome guy, won a Super Bowl. I understand that. I just think that Ricky Ankiel's story is a little bit darker and, I don't know, more interesting.
Why can't you have both?
I said I'd rather have one.
All right, Kurt Warner is the family Disney movie you watch with your kids. Rick Ankiel is the movie that's a little darker, a little more interesting.
You would have liked the Kurt Warner story better if he were part of the Los Angeles Rams.
Yeah. And wasn't a great human being.
And why can't he be a drug addict?
Yeah, something. Just
be
something.
A terrible person.
Hey, Kurt,
because he's too perfect.
How about doing some lines?
Yeah, give me that stuff tonight.
What's wrong with you?
Let's go to Western Illinois.
Kurt Warner was like one of the nicest people.
Still is. He's still alive.
Well, I don't know him that well anymore, but I used to cover him. You know who else was a really good guy? Bulger. That was a tough.
Play golf with
People
him.
forget there was a controversy.
Great golfer.
And now Mark Bulger, wasn't he trying to be on the United States curling team?
I did read something about that.
I believe.
What an easy sport that is.
I believe he's trying to get that going.
I just saw a picture of Bulger playing golf with Joe Buck recently.
Great golfer.
Maybe could ask him.
Maybe at Oakmont. Fancy clubs.
I like, and Bulger made a nice piece of change too.
Oh yes, he did.
NFL quarterback.
And so anyway, I'm dead serious on that. I want to see a movie and a documentary on Ricky Ankiel.
Why don't you make it?
Because I don't want.
How about financed by the Kansas
How about just put it on my YouTube
He was in
channel.
talks to get the movie done.
He'll get a movie.
Yeah.
I bet you get the movie.
Is this wrong? Because I used to say, hey, when that happens, can you cut me in for a role? Like, let me just be the reporter in the scrum. I want that.
We're going to go all the way to
Is that wrong to pressure a guy you work with?
No, because it's kind of like that movie, the second iteration of The Longest Yard, where they go to the press box. Brian Burwell's up there. Some other local media, not local, but some kind of, I think Jake Glazer was up there. They had some media folks.
That was a terrible movie. The original was a good one.
It wasn't terrible.
The Longest Yard with Burt Reynolds was great.
I know, but the one with Adam Sandler, Nelly, Michael Irvin, it wasn't terrible. I wouldn't say it's great. It's entertaining.
Here's a funny one. A couple funny texts. 855-282-8255. Bertarelli Cutlery text line. We're going to go all the way up to 8 o'clock because we're crazy and we don't care. Charlie Morrow looks like the guy that would say sorry after getting a traffic ticket.
Hold on a second. Whoever wrote that, 618, he wrote the same text yesterday, by the way.
Yeah, I didn't read it.
And you didn't read it. But I got to appreciate the stick-to-itiveness to send the exact same text
that word.
The next day to make sure it's read.
You know what? He's the Kurt Warner of the text line. Like Kurt.
I like Rick
Kurt
Ankiel.
didn't give up on his dream. He kept pushing and pushing. Next thing you know, Super Bowl champion.
And I would never say
same with
sorry.
the text line guy.
I would always ask, can I please get a warning? Anyone can get a warning here?
Yeah. Well, you just roll your windows on, you put your lights on, you say, hey, sir, how you doing? Have everything ready. Don't go up and be like, I don't know where things are. What do they mean? Yeah. Oh, I'm gonna keep my windows up, especially when they're tinted. Put your damn window down. He's freaked out, too. Put your light on and have your stuff ready. It's simple. Anyway, a couple more here. Bulger rear-ended me in Earth City one time and refused to get out of the car. That's kind of gutless.
Interesting.
So they canceled the whole movie just so Kat couldn't be in it. Colby Rasmus' dad.
Let me ask you a question. Kat.
No, last I knew they were talking about it.
So, Kat, if there's a Rick Ankiel movie, Let's say
I should have a reporter.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Let's say
Little
let's say the movie ends. It either ends on his home run the first year, or maybe it ends on the home run, and then during the credits, they show him making the throws in Colorado, hitting the 25 homers the following year, which was 2008. Whatever. But let's say they cut at the end to Rick Ankiel doing his press conference after he hits the home run, and you get one question to ask during the movie, and it's actually Jim Hayes playing Jim Hayes. What's the question you ask, and how do you ask it?
Rick, don't you feel that the Cardinals will be the best team in the history of baseball this year?
That's
pretty good.
That's pretty good. Well
That's
thought.
Pretty good.
Thank you.
What school do you go to?
Pretty good.
Thank you. Said this like, I would have asked a better question than that.
Jimmy D says, I'd give Charlie a warning because I know he'd be the most respectful driver ever after getting pulled over.
You know, I went through a span there of getting too many tickets, but this is going back probably, I knock on wood here, I don't think I've gotten a speeding ticket in probably 6-7 years.
Yeah.
But there was about a 5-year span where I got about one a year.
But they didn't actually write you up. They knew who you were, right?
I've gotten
Honestly,
tickets. No. I've gotten tickets up in I think it was probably, I was on 270 once. I've gotten a lot of tickets just traveling.
Yeah.
Indiana, driving to Ohio.
I drive slow, man.
I got a ticket coming back from spring training once.
What do you got, like a couple of pounds of tie stick in the back?
I got all my camera equipment. I said, hey, I was just covering.
I'm working.
I was covering the St. Louis Cardinals, and you're going to pull me over in the state of Georgia, the home of Adam Wainwright?
Come on.
And you're going to give me a ticket for going 14 over, sir? Oh, you are?
In a school zone?
Oh, you are? Okay.
One time, now this is a true story, going either to Macomb or back from Macomb, where the Rams used to have their camp. And I'm with a Fox shooter, and we got pulled over for speeding. I don't know if he was driving or he must have been driving. And I tried to get the guy out of it by saying, sir, this was my fault. I was pushing him to go fast because we have a deadline to make, whatever. And the cop said, you want me to arrest you? And I was like, no, sir. And he's like, then shut up. Oh, okay. Anyway, apparently this guy had warrants, the shooter. And he took him to jail. I had to bail out a shooter because he had warrants from a speeding ticket in Macomb.
But he was a hell of a photographer.
It's a good job. Did a good job.
Ooh.
Still a friend. We're still friends.
Was it Joe Mazzola?
No.
I'm just kidding. He's probably listening. I love Joe. He would never have warrants.
No. Joe Mazzola is the best.
I know.
Yeah,
That's
I
why I
know
was
him.
kidding.
Crazy.
I know him. Great hair.
Crazy.
He's crazy like a fox.
And crazy.
Like, he'll text me. He'll text me 2 weeks from now and say, hey, somebody told me you were talking about me on the radio. He'll Facebook message me, actually.
I get that quite a bit. I'm
He's
like,
the
I
best. If he, you want Joe Mazzola on your side.
Can I tell a story, though, about Joe Mazzola?
Sure.
Love him.
It's great for the audience.
Love him. This is about...
That was a shot at Joe.
I
No,
know
listen,
Joe, but
listen,
not too many people know Joe.
People should know who Joe Mazzola is.
I bet you $1 million.
A lot of people
99% of the people don't.
I disagree. 95.
He thinks everything revolves around TV and everybody knows everybody. It's not the case.
Joe Mazzola, who I love.
Love him.
I had this Albert Pujols jersey.
Who is he?
He's a photographer with Fox Sports. Bally Sports.
Thank
Midwest.
you. Yeah, now the audience knows who
There
he
you
is.
go.
People know. We talk about
People
Joe
don't
Mazzola
know.
They don't know who
for
he
20
is.
years.
What?
For 20
Charlie.
years on your show, he's brought up all the time.
I talk about Perry Marino, a kid I grew up with. No one knows.
Correct.
Him. It doesn't matter.
What's
It's
the
our
other
show.
kid? What's the other
Talk
kid?
about
Let
who
me
you
tell a
want.
story about a guy
Rocky
no one knows.
Pacioli.
No, there's one other friend.
Perry Marino, Happy Hollenbeck, Rocky Pacioli.
Who's the other friend that you always bring up? There's a friend. You constantly bring him up. Nicky?
Nick.
Okay, what's his last name?
Nick is a
There's a
Charlie.
friend you've brought up over the last 20 years on the radio.
Okay.
You always bring his name up.
Are you sure I wasn't?
100%. You're going to think of it during the break.
Okay.
Anyway, story's
Kevin,
not
Get
that
to the
great.
story.
Kevin Shea.
Get to the story, Charlie.
Joe
Hollenbeck.
Mazzola,
Get
he
to the
promised
story.
me to get Albert Pujols jersey signed, and he never did. Joe Mazzola.
That's the story?
I had to take the Jane
That's
Higgins.
the story?
That's the story.
Okay.
I love
Well, at
Joe.
least it's short.
He kept saying, hey, I'll get this jersey for you. Every time I went to him, hey, it didn't happen yet.
You know how you always kind of dissect my being of who I am and stuff, which I
Not as much
probably
as you do of me, but go ahead.
Okay. So one time we're at spring training, and Joe Mazzola, who is a shooter at Bally's, was.
Yeah. Oh, wait. So
everybody knows him.
So you can tell a story now about Joe Mazzola.
Oh,
everybody knows him.
Because I'm kind of mocking myself. But anyway, he said that, the van got hit in the parking lot, right? The van got hit. It was parked overnight, and someone hit it. So I couldn't leave it alone, right?
Sure.
I had to investigate the scene, right?
Sure. You can't leave anything alone.
No, nothing.
That's why I'm doing it. I'm putting it on a plate for you. So I didn't want to start trouble with Joe. I love him, but the curiosity got to me, so I went and examined the scene. Except for the fact that he was parked in a spot that was the last in a row that had grass all around it. There is no way someone could have hit that. So I saw it where it was. I took a little picture, and I said, Joe, I love you, but you're lying. Like, you crashed it. And he got so mad because it was clear. I was like, Joe, this is where the damage is. I don't see tire marks on the grass. Like, I know what happened. I'm not going to rat you out. I would never do that.
Just did. I'll just do it on the radio.
Well, you just
10 years later.
Yeah, well, I mean.
No, you're good.
Yeah, and I was like, but there's no tire marks on the grass, so I mean,
I'm Joe. I'm pissed at you.
Yeah, and so I wouldn't tell him. I said, your secrets. I'm not, but I'm saying, don't lie to me.
Yeah. No,
and he got so mad he wanted to fight me right there. But we did. He would have killed me.
He's actually in very good shape.
Yeah,
great hair.
He's like 70 years old, but he looks like he's 40.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's.
Enough with Joe Mazzola.
We got to
hold on a second.
Wait.
No. Cam over here. Cam is acting disgusted, as if he has better content to get to. No,
I do.
Hey, let's take a break so we can get to.
Well, we went an hour. We went an hour straight.
It's a great segment.
We were talking about Joe Mazzola. Not too many people know who he is. I thought you had a good story. Certainly wasn't. Jim's was pretty good. Now I'm going to go to something else, and then we're going to go to break. And the one thing I was going to get to, we're going to tease, by the way, because there's a cool clip of Leon Draisaitl. And what's the guy's name? Sean Matheson, who's a Hall of Fame writer. And they kind of go back and forth after, I believe, the Oilers lost again. They've been losing left and right. They don't know what the hell to do with that organization.
I think it was Joe Mazzola asked
the question. It was Joe Mazzola with the great hair asked the question. We got the clip. We're going to bring that up. And by the way, real quick, guys, Amber Alerts.
You don't have to say real quick. We have 3
real
hours.
Slow. Amber Alerts are creepy. When your phone blows up and all of a sudden you're like, boom, like, oh, where's it at? Where's it at? Who is it? Da-da-da-da. But this one hit my phone yesterday, and I look at it, I'm like, damn. I go, wonder what that thing, I go, Gotham. It said Gotham City. And it says something about Joker. And I'm like, there's a Gotham City in Missouri? I didn't know that. Where's that at? And then it was just a fake one. It was a fake.
It wasn't fake. They were supposedly testing the system. It was just a bad test.
It confused me.
Yeah.
Is that a worse story than a Joe Mazzola?
Way worse.
Was it way worse?
Here's the deal. Ranking stories. I'll give it.
It wasn't good, was it?
Cats was a little better than mine. I was a solid second. Yours was by far the worst.
Mine was bad. God, I thought the Gotham City thing would be kind of cool. Did no one else saw that yesterday?
No, I saw it.
Oh.
And then it was like regurgitated on Twitter and all that.
It's 7 o'clock in the morning.
I know you're trying to get to a break, but that's the type of thing. And I liked working local news. We're technically still in local radio. That type of thing, though.
We're destined for the network, though.
We're destined for the network. That type of thing is where local media does bother me because, everybody's going to do a cute little story. Somebody's going to dress up like the Joker on air. Everybody's going to have a little take. Everybody's going to have a little blog. There's going to be a meme with the Joker.
But it's an Amber Alert, though.
Was it Amber?
It was an
I thought it was no, I don't think it was. I think it was a storm. Was it like a storm type
I thought it was an Amber Alert because it's not like you're joking.
Car?